In life, we will meet resistance, which can leave us feeling worn down and worn out. But we can find a reason to keep going. Show up, push through, and never give up.
Hey everyone, I'm so glad you're here today because it's the third week of our series called Never Give Up. And it's all about helping you become more resilient in life. Well, what's resilience? It's our ability to bounce back and grow stronger after we've struggled, failed, or faced hard stuff in our life. And before we talk about what this means specifically for you today, I want to take a quick poll. How many of you think most things in life are better when you do it with friends? I think that it totally is. I think there's some things in life that just aren't the same when you experience it by yourself. Have you tried maybe FaceTiming alone? Be pretty weird. How about a duet on TikTok with no one on the other half of the screen? Or playing a game of football? Simply impossible to do by yourself, right? I can't imagine trying to do that. If you don't believe me, let me show you what I mean. Check out this video. All right, I know that looked pretty funny, but this has to seem so real to me before, right? I've been through this. One time when I was younger, I got in trouble for I don't remember what it was, but I had a punishment and I do remember that. I had to shovel all this lava rock out of my mom's side yard and get ready to plant grass. I remember it was summertime and it was super hot and miserable. I shoveled for hours until my friends showed up and they wanted to play. So they began to help me so that I could come play. But my mom saw this and she was like, he's in trouble, he's gotta do this. It took 3 weeks shoveling to fill trash cans, waiting for trash day, and then had to shovel again. It felt like it was never ending, and it was such a hard task. So listen, we all know that some things just can't be done alone. But here's what I think is interesting. Even though we know it, we don't always live like it's true. For one reason or another, so many of us go through life alone.
Maybe you've even experienced your fair share of loneliness along the way. Or you are experiencing loneliness now. If you have, then you know it's a very real thing. In fact, according to a recent study, as many as 3 out of every 5 people you see on a daily basis say they're lonely. And I know that was hard for me to picture just reading the statistic, so I thought it'd be helpful to show you what I'm talking about. 3 out of every 5 people. When you just see 5 people, maybe it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But we're talking about 3 out of 5 of your friends, 3 out of 5 of your family members, 3 out of 5 of your teammates. And on that small scale, even when we see it like this, it still might not feel like that big of a deal. But think about it this way, on a larger scale. When you're anywhere with 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, there are this many that are lonely. When we see loneliness this way, it becomes really clear that loneliness is a really big deal in today's world. What all of this means is that a majority of us, we feel like we're walking through life alone. We're trying to get through all of the stressful events and difficult circumstances and hard days by ourselves. And nothing about that is easy.
But I think the problem is we think we have to do it all on our own. I think that's why so many of us pull away when life gets tough. When hard things happen, we feel like we have to figure them out on our own. So we pull away from people who might be able to help us just to prove that we can do it alone or because we don't want to be a burden to others. We think everyone else has their own lives to deal with. Why would they care about mine? So we pull back thinking no one would want to know. We also hold things back from other people. Maybe we start hiding stuff that's hard or difficult in our lives from the people closest to us. We don't open up to our small group, our friends, or our parents. We think admitting things are difficult and it might make us look like we don't have it all together. We're afraid to show the world we just don't have what it takes. And another thing is, we think life has to be all me. We think that no one will care about our problems more than we will. So if anyone's gonna figure out a way out of this difficult stuff, it's gonna be me on my own. We have to solve our problems. We have to make it without help. We have to rely only on one person, ourselves. And I know I felt that way before. Maybe you have too. And I don't know about you, but as much as I can believe all of those things is best or true, holding back from others, pulling away from people and relying on myself, oftentimes it just makes things harder. It makes us feel even more lonely. It does the opposite of build resilience and help us find a reason to keep going forward. It makes us feel stuck. It's not working for us. So what if the way to build resilience didn't have to do with us and what we put into it? What if the key to getting through difficult times and choosing hope when things seem hopeless in our lives had something to do with people that we invite into the process with us? What if real resilience isn't something you can build by yourself? Today, we're actually gonna talk about a guy whose entire life was changed because of Jesus. His name's Paul, and he was one of the most famous and influential Christians to ever live. He started many of the first Christian churches, helped train other leaders to continue sharing Jesus' message with the entire world, and wrote most of the letters that we find in the New Testament. Early on in his days of starting churches, Paul worked alongside some of his friends, Barnabas, Silas, and Mark. These were early Christians who helped spread the good news about Jesus, which was a huge mission. So they all knew working together was key. But at one point, Paul and his friend Barnabas got into an argument. See, Paul was annoyed with their other friend Mark, who bailed on them during one of their trips. When he told Barnabas about his frustrations, Barnabas wasn't understanding. Why? Because Mark was actually Barnabas' cousin. So when Paul wanted to tell Mark he couldn't keep traveling with them after he bailed, Barnabas didn't like that idea. He didn't just want to leave his cousin behind. Paul and Barnabas just couldn't agree, so they ended up going separate ways. Well, as time passed, Paul found himself in a pretty difficult spot. He actually was put in jail for telling others about Jesus. Paul could have given in right then and there, and who would have blamed him? He was in jail and alone, but he doesn't give up so easily. He actually wrote a letter to one of his friends named Timothy, and in that letter, there's one small sentence that tells us what Paul did instead. Let's take a look. It reads, "Get Mark and bring him with you, because he is helpful to me in my ministry." I know it's simple, but don't miss this. In this letter to Timothy, Paul asks for Mark to come along. The very guy that he refused to bring with him years before, the guy who bailed, the guy he didn't think would be helpful any longer. We don't know exactly what was going through Paul's mind, but it seems like Paul came to realize, whether through his circumstances or through Mark's own actions, that we need the help of other people. See, Paul was on a mission. Literally, he was trying to share the message of Jesus to as many people as he could. He cared too much about the mission to let his pride or self-resilience get in the way. Maybe even he knew that without others, we are more likely to quit or give up on our mission. And maybe in your case, it could be that other people help you pass a test or deal with your anxiety or navigate the loss of someone you love or even grow in your faith. Our circumstances may look different from Paul's, but the point is the same. Letting other people in to help us is actually one of the ways that we can build resilience. That's why I want you to remember this. Never give up on others. No matter how difficult it can be to ask for help or let people in, no matter if we've grown up thinking life is supposed to be all about me, no matter how many times we've thought that it's only up to us to get through tough times in life. If we want to keep going, to keep growing, keep developing resilience, we need to never give up on others. Now, just so we're clear, we aren't talking about situations or relationships where others are harming us or others in any way. Not giving up on others does not mean staying in a situation or a relationship where you're unsafe. And if you are in a relationship where that's the case, or where you aren't sure if that's the case, talk to your small group leader or another trusted adult who can help you navigate through that. The thing is, a lot of us have grown up thinking it was a sign of strength to deal with life on our own, or we have grown up feeling alone, not sure of what's good or what's bad, or what good other people can bring us. So it's important to know what exactly refusing to give up on other people can do for us. Well, first, they can help us grow. There's only so much we can know or experience in our own life, and other people bring their experience and knowledge to give us a larger perspective. They help us know things about ourselves, the world, and God that we wouldn't have known without their help. Other people make our world bigger. Second, they help us see the good. When life gets tough, sometimes there's nothing better than a friend who will remind us of all the good that is happening around us. Their perspective helps us keep going when we want to give up. The opposite is true. We help our friends stay positive when they want to give up. Friendships help us become more resilient. And third, they provide the support that we need. Sometimes we all just need someone to lean on. We need someone to laugh with, cry with, or talk to. You know this because your friends need this from you sometimes. Part of building resilience is becoming more emotionally and mentally healthy. When we have people around us to support us through the ups and the downs of life, they might encourage us to process our emotions in a healthy way, or even get professional help from a counselor. All of this leads to a healthier, more resilient version of ourselves. This is why we should never give up on others, because one of the best ways to build resilience in a relationship with other people is through community and enjoying each other. So what can we begin to do now to start allowing others to help us with this? Here's a few questions to help you get started. Ask yourself, what's happening? Maybe you're just beginning to realize just how much you keep from other people, or maybe you're noticing that you don't have someone you're comfortable with opening up to. Take the time to recognize what's happening when it comes to your relationships. Do you feel lonely? Have you been pulling away because you're going through something? Start by getting real about where you currently stand when it comes to letting other people into your life. Second question, what's true no matter what? So many messages around you will tell you that you can figure out life on your own. This isn't true. We need other people. If someone as influential as Paul needed the help of someone else, it's safe to say that we do too. So remind yourself of what's true, okay? Their help might be the very thing that helps you become more resilient. The third question is, what can you do? Now it's time to get to work. It's time to maybe experience some awkwardness. It might be uncomfortable, but we have to reach out to other people. We have to take a step towards letting people into our lives. Maybe it's a trusted friend, a small group leader, or a teacher at school. Start by sharing what ups and downs you're facing in life, then ask for their perspective on what you can learn or how you can grow or what you can do to keep going, even when you want to give up. Remember, never give up on others, because having other people support you and walk with you through life can make such a difference in your life. It can help you become more resilient, not just today, but in the future. That's why I think God gives us other people to help us along the way. In fact, that's exactly why we do small groups here on Sundays. They're a safe space for you to share your own struggles with a group of people who want to help you with resilience. So will you consider opening up to them today?